And I'm Lindsay.
And today we are going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 reveal.
So, what do you think about the new PlayStation 5, Zach? There's a lot
So,
of mixed reviews on this.
yeah, it's definitely growing on me. I don't like the fins. I really don't like those, but I understand why they want it to be a square surface where it won't be pressed up against the wall to where it'll properly ventilate the system. But I feel like it's definitely. It looks like they got someone in 2005 to design what a console would look like in 2020 is what it honestly looks like to me.
Yeah, that's
It
that's
fits
a
with
good example of what their design
yeah,
choices were. It is highly futuristic.
yeah. I definitely prefer the digital edition over the physical, which yes, they secretly. So this, God, I can't. The whole rumor with Xbox is Project Lockhart, which is the digital version of whatever new system they're releasing. That they've been rumored to that, blah blah blah. Everyone's waiting for that announcement, and then Sony comes out and like, oh yeah, we got a digital version. They totally just stole their thunder, which is awesome. No one was expecting that. Uh, I don't know. I definitely prefer digital because of how it looks. It looks slimmer, but the fins I'm gonna have to get used to, which I will. I'm still getting the console, of course. But what do you think?
I think, like, overall, I really like the design. I do not like how the one with a disk drive is not symmetrical.
Yeah,
I think you should have designed it with the disk drive in the center black part and maybe made it a little, wider overall or something. But, like, it just seems like one has like a tumor hanging on the side of it with the disk drive, and then the other one is like real symmetrical and like sleek looking. And one thing I think is kind of interesting about this too is I think this is really showing a shift toward digital gaming. Like, I
yes,
think Sony is definitely betting on most people are going to buy the all digital version. And I think this kind of shows the one with a disk drive is almost a bit of an afterthought. Like, it definitely doesn't seem like this one was designed for the disk drive first, and then they took it out and made a digital version. It very much seems to me that they designed this as a digital version first and then designed one with a disk drive.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think they were fully intent on releasing this with no disc drive, and then they were like, well, let's offer one with disc just to be safe. Uh, yeah, I totally agree with that too. Because the way it was designed, it looks perfect digital. When you take away the disc tray, it looks slim. It's got that hourglass figure. Like it looks good, But when you add in that disc tray, it does look lopsided.
Yeah. But overall, though, I think the addition of like LEDs on it is a really cool look.
Yeah,
It'll definitely be a attention grabbing piece in someone's living room, whether they want it to be or not. Uh,
yeah,
People will definitely know if you have a PlayStation 5. Um, and I definitely think that's part of the intent in this as well, is for people, who buy it to almost have it as an advertisement when people come by. What is that? What is that huge thing? Oh, that's
yeah.
another thing too. This is actually much bigger
It's
than I
huge.
originally anticipated. Uh,
Yeah,
Looking at it from the screenshots and the video, you're like, okay, that's pretty cool looking. And then someone did a scale map of this to show how big this thing was going to be based on the size of the USB ports and the disc tray. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like the biggest console that's come out in a long time. It's even bigger than the
yeah.
PlayStation 3.
Yeah, like if you were to stand this up next to your entertainment center, it's basically a slim PC tower or an Alienware PC tower,
Yeah.
which makes sense. It aligns with what Xbox did. So now it's like everybody was making fun of the Series X. It's kind of like putting it, they're like, oh, okay, well both consoles are going to be big. They just made one of them made a very uh, plain choice to do just a square, which honestly, compared to this, seems a little more appealing because it like, oh, okay, it'll fit, it'll tuck in the entertainment center. But then
Well,
this is
Here's the thing on that though, like this is taller than the Xbox Series
Yeah,
X, but the Xbox Series X is like almost twice as wide as this.
yeah,
So even sitting on its side, it's going to be a much chunkier shape. Sitting on its side, this will be a little bit thinner and sleeker, but it's going to be a bit wider. So having it upright, I think, is going to be tricky for either of these consoles. But
yeah,
setting them on their side, this one's going to be thinner. It's going to have about the same kind of um, blueprint as a DVD player or something like that. One of the older ones, anyway. But a Xbox is still going to be chunky. It's going to be real tall and it's going to be wide.
yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm definitely going to be curious as to where I would put it. I don't think I'd actually put it in my entertainment center. I think I'd put it standing up, maybe behind the TV, just because I really want to keep it stood up. I think it looks cooler that way. Because when you lay it down flat, it is. I don't like that it like goes from left to right in terms of like the design. When you stand up, at least it's it moves up and it feels a little bit more symmetrical. But I don't know. I do enjoy that they. Okay, so you watched the trailer for it, right?
yes.
When the blue lights turned into the V, and then you started to see the outline of the vents, and as it's backing up, that song came on. I
Hmm.
was like, dude, this is the coolest thing. Sony is totally like, oh yeah, we're gonna make love to you with this console. It was
No,
like the most like sexual, like oh my god, it was so funny.
they definitely like knew what they were going for in this event, and
Yeah,
I feel like they completely nailed it. Um, for this one, they had everything going for them. I mean, this was pretty much like an E3 reveal trailer.
oh yeah,
Like compared to the Microsoft event, I think Microsoft set the expectations way too high. They're like,
yeah,
we're going to show off all these new games, we're going to show off all this stuff. And it was essentially like a Zoom meeting with like indie game footage and stuff, which was not what everyone was expecting. Sony kind of took the opposite approach and said, well, we're going to show off a couple PlayStation 5 games and then put together this like crazy huge, like professionally edited video and then did a console release drop at the end of it. I mean, they had like professionally, done music to it, 3D animations and renders. Like everything was very sleek and stylized. One
yeah,
thing I think is kind of interesting about this too, they showed off a lot of gameplay in this, not just like game trailers. Do you think that that was added on after as an intentional thing to kind of one up Xbox, or do you think that that gameplay for each of these games was in already in this video?
I think they wanted that already because this was they wanted to showcase the games. When they announced this was focused on games. The console was a total secret, or it was a total like surprise, even though everybody was kind of expecting it, just because they shown the console around this time with the PS4. So I think they were fully intended on showing gameplay, and then the rumored August state of play will be focused on the console. I'm assuming with the UI, what the services are, PlayStation Now. We'd probably get the release date and the price, which is a little late, but I mean this is a very weird year to be releasing a console, so nothing is going to be according to plan. I do think though that they were fully intent on showing gameplay just because this is what they did around the time of the PS4 being released.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like they were probably going to show like the actual games, like the videos from the games, but I think
Yeah,
making a clear distinction between okay, this is the game and this is gameplay, I think was probably added on after the fact just to kind of hit home and kind of get another jab on Xbox.
yeah. Um, there were some numbers for the event. I can't remember exactly, but there were, I think at the peak time, there were 7 million people watching the event across all platforms. And the PS5 reveal trailer, last time I watched it, which was yesterday, and yes, I have watched it multiple times just to see it. It's just amazing. I think it's at 9.7 million, and that was as of yesterday. And this has been like what, a few days that it's been
Yeah.
out. The uh, Xbox Series X reveal trailer, which was back in December, only has 11 million views. So they are, kicking some butt,
Eh,
and the reveal was the most watched reveal in game history, and all of the memes that are going around, are, I guess, making fun of the console and how it looks, is basically free advertising. Sony didn't have to pay for that. I'm like they Sony is killing it right now, but they can still like drop the ball, especially when it comes to like services.
yeah. Well, what did you think about their inclusion of the accessories in this as well, like the headset, the controller dock, the camera, and even a media remote? I thought that was a little strange to include in the console's launch video.
Yeah, I guess this was like, hey, here's everything. We're not messing around anymore. Like you want the console, you got it. You want two consoles, you got it. You want controllers, you want the camera, the headset, the remote. It's like, hey, this is PlayStation 5. This is what you're gonna expect this holiday. I think like they put 2 feet down and started running all over Xbox. And this entire time from December till June, Xbox had the narrative. They had the whole thing covered of like next gen is coming this year and Xbox is leading. And one video is all it took for Sony to be like, no, it's back in our court. We can Xbox sit down. We got this.
Yeah, I
And
definitely think Sony's marketing division is doing like a crazy, ridiculous job of this. And Xbox just seems to have such a hard time with their marketing on their consoles. Like they seem to be getting pulled in so many different directions. It's like they can't ever singularly focus on something. And I think that's what's really hurting Xbox. And not just right now, but the last console cycle as well.
Yeah, the current head of marketing is Aaron Greenberg. He was one of the people that were on the Xbox Series X gameplay reveal event. He was the guy who had the fridge in the background that looked like the Xbox, which was really funny. But he's head of marketing, and he is kind of, I don't know how to put it, but he's a little petty. He will promote. What was it? There was a quote after the PlayStation 5 reveal event where he was like, "Oh yeah, all of those games you saw will be playable on the Xbox Series X, the world's most powerful console." And I'm like, you keep saying that, but it's not. Teraflops doesn't mean anything, but they're like, it's a marketing ploy, which is fine. I totally understand. His job is 90% supposed to be to lie, and then the 10% is making sure his lie is believable.
Yeah.
That's what marketing is. That's totally what advertising. It's the same thing, but he's at least, I don't know. It's like with Sony, it is like they know their audience. Xbox doesn't know what they're trying to go for yet. They're just trying. It feels like they're taking the shotgun effect and they're seeing what works. Sony is like, we're sniper rifle. Like, we know exactly what to do, and we're gonna do it. And we're gonna. I mean, honestly, they're gonna nail it unless they, you know, mess something up. But at this point, this was the biggest thing they could have screwed up, and they didn't.
So, I guess in conclusion here, what do you think about the PlayStation 5 and its appearance overall, and how does that compare to previous consoles?
Uh so I don't really remember much of the original PlayStation. I was so young then, but looking at all the consoles together, this is probably my least favorite just because of those fins. Those fins really like they get on my nerves to the point where I'm like, I wonder if I could like break them off and would it still be okay? Yeah, because it's like it could have, like, if they just curved the top of it, it would have been perfect. but I understand they want it to be to where they can have the ventilation because they got so much crap for the noise on the PS4. But
Well, yeah, they wanted to have the ventilation, and I also think it's supposed to represent a V, as in, the Roman numeral
that is
5
true.
for PlayStation 5. So as a
Yeah.
marketing aspect, I think it's a bit genius. But it is definitely the most out there console design I've ever seen.
Yeah. What do you think the price is going to be for the optical one and the digital one?
I think the optical one will probably be around $600,
Yeah.
maybe $500, and I think the all digital one will be $100 cheaper.
So I think I agree with the optical. I think it is going to be $600. I mean, to be honest with you, Lindsay, if they slapped $799 on this, I'd
Yep.
believe it. Like, I'd be like, you know what? It looks like an $800 console. I'm okay with it. It looks like it's from the future, from the point of view of 2005. But I think that it is going to be $600. But I think the digital one, they are going to be super competitive with it because they know that people are going to want it. It looks better, probably intentionally. And the money they make from people buying digital only, back in 2018, not a lot of people remember this, but they made it to where you can't buy codes from any third-party retailers anymore. So like GameStop doesn't sell digital codes, Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon, they don't sell digital codes anymore. You can only get it through Sony. So they're going to make a lot more profit off of the games. And if they're going to chokehold people into only being able to buy digital, then they can take a $200 loss, which is why I think that the digital version is going to be $400. That'll be super competitive with whatever Xbox is doing. And so, like with the Series X, I'm assuming is probably $500 or $600, and Lockhart, which there's a whole bunch of rumors of what it could be. But if they were to do the 600 and 500 or 600 or 400, it's going to be Lockhart is mostly for streaming. That's the rumors that they want it to be able to stream. They're going to use their Project X Cloud to accommodate it. But with Sony, they want digital downloads. So they are going to do a powerhouse console with the disc in, but then they're also going to do the powerhouse console without it to save some money. And forcing people to buy digital is going to get them more money. So I think they could afford a lower drop in price. And if you look at, what was it, 450 is what it costs to make the PS5, right? Wasn't that around what they said?
I can't remember the exact figure on it, but it was probably somewhere close to that. I definitely think that they could do it at a loss for a while anyway.
I think 450 to 470 is what it would cost to make the PS4, and we don't know if that's with disc in or disc out. But a Blu-ray optical disc drive is like $60. So if it is 450, 470, like they can take the $10 cut and make up for it, easily. Drop it down to $399. Like that's gonna sell like hotcakes if they do $399 for the digital version.
If they do $399 for the digital version, that is going to be probably one of the best-selling consoles of all time. That is a ridiculous price at launch.
And I think I think they know that. Console launches are never for profit. They're always at a loss, or at least they're almost always at a loss. And I think they know that. And with the digital games, purchases rising, I think they could be like, you know what, let's take a loss on the digital version and we make up for it with every game that we sell ever.
Yeah, I guess tell us what you think about the PlayStation 5 in the comments down below. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.